Hey guys, it's Moss. So this is late and I apologize for it being late. It was not my plan for it to be this late, but here we are. As some of you guys know, I am a busy college student, and this semester I took 18 credit hours, so that has been majority of my time. So we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna get right into it. So today we are doing the Evillecon review. I've been doing this for some cons lately that I haven't gone to before because I've kind of extended what I'm going to and kind of shifted around with cons that I usually go to. As you guys know, I haven't gone to Anime Crossroads this year. And Evillecon was my replacement for that. Usually Anime Crossroads is my home con, but I was one of the people that decided to wait it out this year and kind of see how it went before I decided if I wanted to go back. If you want to know anything about that, you can go and find it. I'm not going to talk about that here because that's not what this is about. So let's get into it. So Evillecon is it used to be a Southern Indiana con. I've known about it for years. I have pins from some of their first years when they would advertise at other cons, like I think the Year of the Pig, which that's a long time ago, I'm sure. But they recently moved to Kentucky, and we decided this year that we wanted to go. They are a smaller con. I've always seen them around at indie cons advertising, and I've seen the people that I view as kind of the faces of Evillecon all over the place. They're fun people, they're everywhere, they're always partying and having fun. Yeah, so it is a smaller con. They moved from Evansville, Indiana to, oh god. So if you are new here and you don't know who I am, which I don't know why you're here, I am Moss. I am Mossy Strawberry Cosplay. I am a Midwest cosplayer located in Indy that goes to mostly local cons, but I do kind of branch out and go to other places within the closer Midwest. I am a competition cosplay builder, and I am a original cosplay designer. I've competed, I have an award, you know, that kind of stuff. That's really the biggest part of my con experiences, and I'm going to talk a lot about that because that's what I do at cons. So yeah, you usually can find me at most indie cons, closer to Central Indy. I've started going to Evillecon, might go to FurCon, we'll see. And I also go to MatsuriCon in Ohio. But mostly I go to like Indie PopCon, Comic-Con, sometimes Gen Con, but that's expensive. And I used to go to Anime Crossroads, so, and hopefully I'll go again. So yeah, let's get into the review now that I've discussed who I am. Most people here know I'm not that famous. So I look for different things at a con. One of my big things is the competition. This year I competed in my Zelda. My Zelda is not a crazy build. It is a comfortable build. It is a good build for trying out a competition because I had never been here, and I have had mixed experiences at competitions. So we wore something comfy just in case, and it was more of a vibe time. I don't really see Zelda winning anything. I don't do it to win, I just do it for fun. But yeah, so competition is a big thing. Size of con, what's available, that kind of stuff, and then obviously community. So there's a lot of good things. There's a little bit of stuff that I am going to go into that's a little bit more critical, but a lot of this review is going to be praises because I really enjoyed this con. Obviously, it is so nice when cons communicate with their staff. The staff all knew what was happening. There was lots of communication. I didn't feel like I was like... So as I said, this is late. Evillecon was a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month, and I have been busy. I went there for my spring break from college, and hey, but it was a lot of fun. I've noticed that they definitely are a con that starts at the beginning of the year, kind of kicking off con season, especially here in the Midwest when con season kind of kicks off. So they are an early year con, which means pay attention to weather. So as I've said before, I attended Evillecon because I have known about this con for probably 10 years. In however long they've been around, I have seen them. And I always told myself I would go. Eventually, I would go. And I wanted to wait until they got a little larger because when I was younger and I would see like videos and things, they did look like a smaller con. And I was like, if I'm going to make the trip, I want to know other people that are going and have a little bit more community. So I waited, and then I obviously was always going to Anime Crossroads, and they usually kind of correspond week after week, and that is a big shift for me when it comes to cons. I don't like cons in the same month. Very hardly do I do that, and if I do, it is very rarely. This year we might be doing that with FurCon and Matsuri, so we'll see. But yeah, I wanted to go and experience it finally, and honestly, I wanted another con to try competing at, so. Because I'm not a huge fan of some competitions I've been in, and I just want to try other cons. So I'm going to be talking about the experience day to day. We're going to start with day 0 because I think that's important. Day 0, the Thursday, we went, and it was about a 4-hour drive, which was fun. We enjoy our fun little road trips, and the hotel was really nice. We weren't really sure where we were going. We'd never been in this town before, and it was really cute. It was dark, so we were kind of just like, oh, we get there, and the staff, super nice, super helpful. Really nice hotel. I am really anal about knowing all the details of a hotel, and they were super chill, and they actually didn't require a deposit, which was really nice. And they even provided like towels for makeup, which was really nice. Usually I bring, you know, just wipes, but I didn't bring washcloths with me this time for makeup, so I was just kind of like, oh. And they had them, and they were like, here you go, use them for your makeup, like, here, Evillecon attendees. And I was like, hey, that's really cool. Plus, they were really close to the convention center. I thought they were going to be like across the road or something, but they were actually just right there. And the hotel is actually on the Ohio, so there's like a whole outdoor park and fountain area that is perfect for cosplay photography. And we went and we checked that out. We had a lot of fun there with that. I think the funniest thing was being there in like the little arts garden behind the hotel, and then looking over, and you just see this black mass. It was like a black mass. I'll have to show a photo here. Yeah. I was sitting there. I think I made a joke about it in one of my videos where I was like, what is that? But yeah, it was a really pretty little area. It was a little windy, but yeah, day 0 was kind of our chill day, but the hotel was really nice, and I do recommend that hotel for con trips. I have also heard that AwesomeCon goes to this convention center as well, and I may go to that one because it's such a nice little convention center, and the hotel is really nice. So day 1. Day 1 is kind of my day at a con that I've never been to, where I kind of get the lay of the land, kind of figure out what's happening. Since it was my first year here, I definitely wanted to make sure I knew what was happening for the competition and where it was going to be held, because I had never been in this convention center and it didn't look very big from the outside, so I was hoping it was going to be pretty easy. It was really interesting. They had like their little teams for the Year of the Horse, and we had a lot of fun with that. And the staff was extremely helpful. Usually in the past, I have had to deal with con volunteers and con staff that don't necessarily know what's going on. I think I'd mentioned it for WeebCon, and I don't blame the people that are volunteering or on staff. They just weren't informed. That's not their fault. Of course, communication is a big thing, but, you know, we're not going to blame anybody for any of this. This is just my objective experience. But we were looking around for things, and at other cons, I have had to deal with staff that doesn't know what's going on. And at WeebCon, I actually waited multiple hours to talk to anybody about panels. And But still a fun con, but definitely needed some work. But anyway, this con was the complete opposite. We found the staff table, and the staff there were so helpful. They very much were just kind of like, hey, I will show you exactly where you need to go. Instead of just pointing, they were like, I will take you. And we went, we found where we were going, and it worked out. Knew exactly what to do, where to go. No stress, which if you know me at cons, you know that I stress. So it was really great. I also want to take this time that I have noticed, and this isn't like a huge thing, but I have noticed that there is a friendliness difference between some cons out of state that I've been to, like in Ohio, and this is not a bash at anybody, but in Ohio, we have dealt with a lot less friendliness at cons, where there's just not, like, people don't walk up to you. Like, this con embodied pre-COVID con vibes, where people were just walking up and talking to us. We were just making friends, and people were just vibing. We felt so bad because we didn't bring trinkets, and everyone was just handing us trinkets. We didn't know that was gonna be the vibe, and I was like, oh my god, the one time I don't bring trinkets. But it was such a fun con. Everyone was so nice. They were like saying hi. Even just normal people that weren't like there for the con were just saying good morning and like hello, and were just talking to us when we were getting photos and like just complimenting. And they were like, usually we get funny looks even here in like our home area. We were just kind of like it was definitely a con culture shock, and for me it definitely gave back my nostalgia of cons from when I was growing up, and it was so nice, and I appreciate that so much because I miss that vibe of cons. I mourn pre-COVID cons so much because I'm a person where I love talking about cosplay, and at cons I am kind of an extrovert if I'm in the right circumstances. If I'm anywhere else, I am an introvert unless I'm working, but you know, that's just work. Also, they had really nice breakfast options at the hotel, and one of the days they had some really nice waffle mixtures, and I love me a good waffle. This has been an honorable mention of the breakfast. They had red velvet waffles. So day one was really fun. It was kind of a day that we kind of took to get the lay of the land, get our registration done, because we got there so late Thursday because a few of us had to work, so we had to kidnap some people. I mean friends, not random people. Don't yell at me, YouTube. But we had to kidnap, do all that, get to the con. So Friday was very much kind of a vibe day, kind of getting the lay of the land, setting up for the weekend. So it was really nice how quiet the con was. Like, it was the right size. It wasn't busy and congested, but it wasn't dead, and it was really nice. We enjoyed it. The friendliness of people, as soon as we walked in, people were just saying hi and being friendly. People were giving me trinkets, and I didn't bring trinkets because I didn't know that was gonna be the vibe, so I didn't bring them. It very much gave pre-COVID con vibes. People just kept saying hi. People were stopping and talking. There wasn't like people really being like judgy, which I've dealt with in cosplay, because if someone is wearing the same cosplay as me, I'm going to Spider-Man meme you and be like, oh my god, I love your cosplay. And then sometimes I'll get looks and people will just kind of glare, and I'm like, bro, please don't. But this con was so fun in that regard. These staff actually knew what they were doing, and I really liked that. I know that doesn't sound like a high hope, but it was. I have dealt with cons where I'll ask about, where's the competition? Where's this? And they don't know. So it was really nice to see that they knew what was happening, and the staff member I dealt with was so nice. They were like, here, I will take you to where you need to go so you know where to go. And I'm a visual person, and I went, yes, please do. I love this. So it was really nice, and it was really helpful for the weekend. Less stress on me. I love that. If I know what's happening, I'm all good. We also got to wear Pomni, and the amount of compliments I got on Pomni was so nice. Everyone loved it. I loved it, and it was a really fun time. The convention center was not overly hot. The walk back and forth was really nice. It wasn't super insane. So I did like that we could just be like, all right, you know, it's vibe time. We need to go back to the hotel because our hotel is kind of our quiet space. So it was kind of a nice time doing that. But the first day was very much kind of a vibe day. Biggest things I have to say about that was just the staff was super friendly, super helpful. The dealer's room was very nicely spaced out where we could shop. The vendors were really nice. They were very much just like, here, I will talk. Look at my stuff and we can chat. And it was nice. It wasn't like kind of the vibe of like, here, buy my things and I will just sit here quietly and glare at you. I've seen that. But a lot of really cool vendors. I really liked it. The artists were amazing. There was all sorts of stuff. I loved that there was a huge furry community at this con. I wasn't expecting that. And I was actually convinced to bring my fursuit because of the community that was going to be there. And my friends were all fursuiting and I was just kind of like, I want a fursuit too. And I felt so sad that I didn't get to fursuit for the meetup. But I was also competing and I wasn't going back and forth between cosplays because I was also in prejudging during the meetup. So that leads us into Saturday. So Saturday was the competition day. Everything went super smoothly. I, of course, was extremely early. The judges were very thorough and I liked that. So we got to kind of vibe around. My friends went to the furry meetup and I went to prejudging, got to meet the judges and do all that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was really cool to meet the judges and I thought they were all really cool. Their cosplays were awesome and I don't remember their name, but the one that was cosplaying Guami from Vocaloid? I may be wrong on the name, but I was obsessed with that cosplay. I just kept staring at the sparkles. But yeah, so I got to wear Zelda. That day was very much kind of a shopping, photo day. My cosplay, I had issues with it. Apparently I've lost weight, so there were things that didn't fit that I thought fit, and I made that cosplay before I've lost as much weight as I have, so it's been fun dealing with that. So I was a little stressed, but also I had to remind myself that this was my first year at Evillecon and I wasn't there to win. I'm never at a competition to win. I'm usually just vibing. I love to see my friends compete with my friends. I love that. I'm trying to convince Austin right now to compete with me because I need more friends to compete with. And I wanted to kind of test the waters, as I said before, because I've been to competitions where I am wearing an extremely uncomfortable cosplay and there is no relief for, like, you know, shoes or just having to sit for hours. So I kind of wanted to test the waters on how this competition ran. And the competition did run smoothly. There were some issues, but they weren't insane. Nothing that would cause me to not compete here again, and I do recommend it. They didn't have a lot of awards, but obviously it is a smaller competition, so it's not something I expected. I kind of just went in and was like, oh. But there was a huge turnout and there was a lot of really talented cosplayers, and I love playing the game at cons where I try to tell who is competing and who isn't. Not that cosplays should be ranked that way, but sometimes I'll see someone who is wearing a tailored cosplay or something that you can tell that they built, or a larger build, and I'll just kind of be watching them and I'll be like, that's in the competition. Like, it's just a fun little game I play. And I met a few of them and I was just kind of looking over their cosplay and I was kind of sitting there going, that's a winner. I love playing that game. The person cosplaying Strawberry Shortcake, that cosplay was so clean, so clean. I saw that and I was like, this is the winner. This is the one. Also, the announcer for the competition was great. I loved the vibe. It was so fun. And they live streamed it, which was really cool. Usually I haven't seen competitions be live streamed, so I actually got to share me walking on stage live with my mom, which was really funny. Usually my parents don't see me do anything like this. They kind of just go, okay, have fun, show us pictures and videos. But I actually got to send the link to my mom and I was like, here, you want to watch me walk on stage? Here you go. And she enjoyed it. So yeah. But it was a lot of fun. There was the dance party. We don't go to the rave. We're not rave cosplayers. sadly all of us are a little overstimulated. So but I did get to cosplay my Mr. Worldwide Jax. It started out as just Maid Jax, and I decided to bring sunglasses to be funny, and then it turned into Mr. Worldwide. And the amount of attention that cosplay got was so funny. People the next day, when I was cosplaying Jax, were very much just kind of like, Mr. Worldwide. And I'm like, I'm not, like, I put the sunglasses on, and all of a sudden I was Mr. Worldwide again. So it was just really funny, and I love it. I'm probably going to bring the cosplay back to do that again, because it was so funny. And we were going to our funny night panels. It was really fun. There was a lot of funny little shenanigans happening, and I appreciated it. There was a lot of really cool panels. There were a few that I was kind of like, but not the con's fault. I'm just maybe a little scared. And day three was very much just a vibe day. We ended up leaving early because we did have a 4-hour drive ahead of us, but we did our last minute shopping. We got some photos. I was Jax. I was so tired. I just wanted to go home and sleep, but it was a fun time. It was really quiet, which was kind of nice. So yeah, and it was very easy, get out, you know. There were some lines for the elevators, but it wasn't as bad as Matsuri. So once you've been to Matsuri and stayed in the Hyatt during like Saturday and had to go up and down the elevator throughout the day, you will appreciate a 3 to 4 group line for the elevator because usually it's way worse. So that was kind of my ramble about my experience. I just wanted to kind of go through, share some fun moments and all that. Here is kind of my actual review / my opinions. Obviously, you can take what I say with a grain of salt. You can believe me. You can say, your opinion doesn't matter. I had a horrible time. It's not my job to tell you what to think. I'm just here to share mine. So I'm just sharing my opinion. I've gone to cons for many years, and I'm not saying that what I think is objectively right, but I would recommend this con. Some of my favorite things for this con is I liked the size of the convention center. I liked the size of the con. Obviously, part of the reason I do these reviews is I want to share the con and maybe help it grow, because we need more non-corporate run cons. I will support non-corporate run cons any day because we need them. Please support them. Go to your local smaller cons. Make them bigger. Yeah. This has been a Evillecon review. I do recommend it if you guys are on the rocks about Evillecon. I say you should check it out. Also, they had cars. I like cars. I very much was looking at the cars. I would probably never do it because I don't have the time nor the place to put it where it wouldn't get destroyed, but I would do something funny on the side of a future car and then take it to cons. That would be fun. Also, I would get to ride around in my car inside. That would be interesting. I could imagine just driving around a mall in my Miata. It'd be weird. Another interesting thing was, of course, the announcer making sure they had all information for everyone. It has gotten better over the years, but they did make sure they had our names, our pronouns right. That, of course, shouldn't be asking much, but sometimes it is. So I always just mention that they are accepting and they do make sure they have the information correct. So, woo, yes. But the announcing was really fun and I really liked it, and I wish more cons did that because I was having fun. I don't even remember what was said about me until I heard the recording, and it was honestly so great. I loved it. I was like living my life on stage. But they had so many other fun things. There were lots of fun panels. There was the game rooms. The dances looked like a lot of fun. The one that we went to was a lot of fun, and we got to see Moss put on I almost said a wig head. What? A fursuit and dance around in a fursuit and somehow didn't die. So we'll take it. But yeah, it was a fun vibe. My biggest thing too was sorry, I had to look at the thing. My other biggest thing to mention, I think I've said this before, is the location was great. I love this location, and I really hope this con stays here because the hotel, really nice. The convention center, really nice. And the photo areas were so nice. I really liked the locations. I'm still editing photos, and I'm sitting there going, holy crap, these look great. So we had a lot of fun, and there was a lot of really cool places to check out that we didn't check out because we were staying kind of close. So yeah, that is my favorite things about the con. Yeah, now we get into the small amounts of critiques I have. Drum roll. Actually, no, they're really not that serious. But my biggest thing, obviously, is there were some hiccups in the competition, but nothing was really insane. It was really just tech. And that's not a big deal. So, you know, things happen. You kind of just roll with it. But yeah, I really did like that they did like a audience participation award. I thought that was kind of cool. I didn't vote because I was in the competition, but the people that got it to work, cool. We were having trouble trying to get it to open so we could look at it, but yeah, that was kind of a hiccup. And then obviously the live stream did get paused, but it was fixed, so it's not like it was a huge deal. People are always still recording and taking photos as well. My other biggest thing is there was one panel that definitely, and it wasn't necessarily like the con, but it was definitely a panel that we went to thinking it would be funny, and it definitely gave off kind of weird vibes. I don't know if it was the person that was running it, but there was just a lot of like over 18 things happening and characters mentioned that were not of that age group. So we very much just kind of were like, what is happening here? And yeah, so that was really the weirdest part of our thing. That's really my only critiques, but we didn't let that destroy our weekend. It was just something that we didn't enjoy, and we were kind of weirded out by it, but you know. This has been a Evillecon review. I do recommend it if you guys are on the rocks about Evillecon. I say you should check it out. Also, they had cars. I like cars. I very much was looking at the cars. I would probably never do it because I don't have the time nor the place to put it where it wouldn't get destroyed, but I would do something funny on the side of a future car and then take it to cons. That would be fun. Also, I would get to ride around in my car inside. That would be interesting. I could imagine just driving around a mall in my Miata. It'd be weird. But no, it was a fun weekend. I definitely recommend this con. Yeah, so it was really exciting to actually be able to go. It's a great opportunity. So I will definitely be going next year if possible. Yeah, so that's been my review. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. If you're from the con and you're watching this, thank you for a great weekend. I hope you take my stuff as it is here. It is not meant to sound disrespectful in any way. It is meant to be a fun little review and maybe a boost for the con. So yeah, that's all I got. See you later, guys. See you in the next one. We're going to be doing indie popcorn video here soon. That's all I got. So bye.